Hello everyone. I'm glad to see you here on the channel. You must have come here for a reason. And right now we're going to talk about network technologies like VPNs, proxies, and everything else. What prompted us to make this video is that usually people are making videos about VPN and how all of this works for us directly in Russia, and there people have networks. There's the opposite situation. A lot of fellow countrymen live abroad, across borders in some other country, and they do not have access to banking applications, video hosting services such as Kinopoiske, Kioni, and so on, and accordingly they experience discomfort. I've been through this myself. Once I was abroad and I needed to access a banking app, but it told me, "You're not in Russia. Goodbye." And yes, I had to install a VPN and set it up just to log in and do something with my money. Or there was another case. I was abroad, and the World Cup was going on. We wanted to watch it with the guys. It was just the final, and we were told goodbye. Either watch it in French or in English, but it wasn't broadcast in Russian around the world. It was broadcast here in Russia. What was done? Of course it was invented. Method. I set up the VPN and we quickly started watching. It's all online, free, and great. So, here are two cases for you, two instances of accessing Russian services. If you're somewhere abroad and trying to access some video hosting sites, maybe something even more basic. There are thousands of options, so if you face this, it will definitely help someone. Also, the video that will be shown here, you can do it for free. But if you want to get a super cool guide, like a step-by-step instruction, there will be 17 methods in there. Everything is there. How to set it up on the router, on phones, how to do partial mouse control. The civilization of kinetics on converting iPhones, Androids, everything is there, already over 700 pages. You can get access through the link. You support the channel, you support me, and I thank you for this instruction. I think the win-win strategy is always interesting to everyone. And thank you for... I finished watching it, let's watch and do it. So, let's get started. This is what the access guide looks like, which you can open through the links provided in the description. There are already 17 of them. Now there will be a guide covering different protocols like auto installation and custom scripts. And on the router kinetic, as we even left Kvas in HP, the self-protecting protocol on the kinetic needs to be updated. We flashed the wonderful router Xiaomi, the best in terms of value for quality. In general, there's even an advanced guide which has a lot of information. What about panel flick swipe? You can open it and take a look. It will take a while just to talk about it. Right now we have 17 and it will go. About access, on the contrary. So usually everyone is used to accessing via VPN from Russia, somewhere else. And here it's the opposite situation. That is, we will do it if you are somewhere in another country, and how to get there. On the contrary, through VPN in Russia. Basically, it's the same as the usual method. For example, you can set it up in LS and Amnesia, but with some specific features. From Russia. So we will be taking a VPS server in Russia, and we will immediately install two protocols on this server. This means you will be able to use both the Amnesia protocol and LS. So basically, you will be able to set it up on one server for phones, for laptops, IQ, and you can even install it on a TV or a router. This way, you could be in another country and comfortably watch Kion, Kinopoisk, or various streaming services and everything else, and have access as if you were in Moscow or St. Petersburg. It's convenient. I'm on my own with this. I've dealt with this myself and even set it up for other friends and acquaintances who live abroad, so they would have that opportunity. And you can do everything yourself by following the video I'm showing. Links will also be in the description, if for hosting and with discounts. And if you want it to be more convenient, you have the option to pay for the guide. In this way, support me, and I thank you. Completely. The instructions are all written here. So first we need to have a point of access, an exit in Russia, which means it should be a VPS server. There are many of their services to Steam. I recommend a few. Why the first one is a really high quality hosting provider. What is the first? What is the second? That is, it is good support, good hardware. Guys really care about quality, which is important. Not everyone does. Plus you can get bonuses. And third, if you click on the link, you'll support me because there will be 3 referral links and they reward for that. I'm being honest about this. So the first host has a 60% discount for the first month. It's a really great offer. You can get it for a very low price. Buy hosting, so just click on the link or in the document with the instructions. If there is something in the description. So we're making the guide and we need a VPS server, which means right here we have the GPS folder. We're choosing a VPS from Russia. And we see the selection of plans. Take a look. Right away, I'm saying, let's rule out the light mode. Light plan. Sorry, it doesn't really suit us. That is, it will work, but it will work. Not very good. Why? Because 1 GB of memory is just not enough. So we have a pretty weak internet connection. That is, there will be a shaper there, but it is not good, so I recommend from the promo. So that's also a good price, $4. With a few extra cents, you'll get a good server with decent RAM and a normal internet connection because it's either micro. The difference is that here you have 1 core and here you have 2 cores. And the main difference is that I consider it micro. This is the tariff. There is a backup, which means you'll get a free backup done once a week. If something crashes or goes down on the server, you won't have to reinstall everything from scratch. Just press the button and everything will be restored in 5 minutes. But if you don't have a backup, then of course you'll have to do everything from scratch. Let's do it again. So let me show you an example using promo. I recommend, as a simple guideline, if you have up to 10 devices, the promo plan will be enough for you. If you have more than 10 devices and, well, good requirements so that nothing lags, there shouldn't be any issues. The problem is with the resources. I recommend micro because it has 2 cores. After all, dual core servers are faster, more powerful, and will run more smoothly. Let's take an example with promo. We click on order and we need to enter the server name. Let's go ahead and enter their server. It's nice. There. Well, you can choose anything you want, Ario. Let's go with that. For the operating system, we can choose either 2404 or 2204. Overall, you can choose something like that. I'll show you the 2404 option. You see, there's a free copy, right? So just like that. It's a bit more expensive, but it's a really great story. It saved me when I was breaking down some website or something, and suddenly something fell apart after 6 months. You just hit 1 button to install it, and you don't have to worry about it. But again, it seems like you have to decide for yourself. We click Next. You can also pay for a month. You can choose to pay for several months at once, maybe even for a year. You have options. You'll be paying, there's a promo code. It's either for 60 or for 1 VPN. So this promo code, let's click Apply using the link. If you applied it, you see it's only 171 rubles for 1 month. That's the regular price. We click on Checkout. Enter your details here, I recommend. Use a Russian bank card and the FPS. The only thing to keep in mind is that if you use the SVP, you do not have automatic renewals, and even through a Russian card, you will have automatic renewal of services. Accordingly, do not miss the opportunity when you need to. Renew, pay, and you do not turn off the server. Because some have encountered 1 or 2 days, they forget the server, they pause, they block, and as a result, people have to install the data. But why is this possible? Let's say, to keep it simple, how to use all the services. Here, fill in your full name, email, and password, come up with a password, and then click on Complete Order. After that, once you make the payment, you'll receive an email, which usually takes 2 to 3 minutes, but at most 5. It will say that welcome, you will have a login and password. But it probably won't be in the email. Why have hosts started to pay more attention to security recently? They don't send the password by email because it's not safe. It's stored there and it's easy to steal. That is, they stole the mail, gained access to the servers, and that's all. So there will be a link on how to get it. This password will be in your personal account. In the instructions, I've detailed everything, describing each step here. So don't make a mistake when you log into your personal account. There will be your IP address, password. You might want to copy it or change it and the login too, right? Here it is. Also, by the way, I recommend that when you make the payment, your server will be activated. Even if you have a prepaid card, you can immediately throw in money for a couple of months, for example, so that... Well, don't miss that option. That's exactly what I was talking about, that in a month they'll cut you off and you'll be left high and dry. I also recommend 2 hosts linked in the description or in the instructions. They have their own perks. They give a 15% bonus on deposits within the first 24 hours. So if you top up with 1,000 rubles, they'll add 15% to that. So it's a cool story too, guys. They have a lot of locations. Incredibly fast link. Because Moscow and St. Petersburg, if I'm not mistaken, have 25 gigabits. Let's take a look now. And overall, they respond quickly too. And I can recommend the first host as well as the second one. What does the registration look like? Click the link, it will be at the top here. Login registration. You need to register first. Enter your email here and click on register. Within a minute, you'll receive a confirmation message in your email. You confirm it and go to your personal account. Your personal account looks like this. There are different countries like the USA, London, Paris, Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Vienna, Stockholm, Helsinki, Moscow, and St. Petersburg. But right now we're focusing on Russia. But if you suddenly need a similar setup for some other country, even the first host has other countries like Germany, the Netherlands, and Finland. And here you have a choice. There was a situation where a person reached out. He's an American living in Russia. And he needed to watch Netflix, which is from the USA. And so I set up a server for him in the USA. We set it up together. All of this was set up so he could watch Netflix on his TV. But that happens. In general, we can choose either Moscow or St. Petersburg here. We see that the connection will be up to 25 gigabits. So I recommend not to focus on that number, but overall there are about 8-10 gigabits. I checked, it's a pretty fast connection. You can choose Moscow and St. Petersburg. Next, we choose based on the resources. Shared or dedication. What's the difference? Shared. Your core is shared with other people. Dedicated, your core is exclusively yours. So if the server requirements are very finicky, then you should choose dedicated. In general, shared is enough for VPN in terms of resources. 1 core or 2. I recommend 1 if you have a few devices up to 10. I recommend 2 if you have 10 and above. So phones, tablets, laptops, and so on. I will show how, using the example of this operating system, Ubuntu 24, you can also leave, below, but I don't recommend it. Older versions, you can pay monthly or for 3, 6, or 12 months. The same goes for backups. You can turn them on or off. You can do it here. Up to 7 copies, create varieties. If something breaks, you can restore it with just 1 button easily. You can leave it monthly basis. And then you click on pay. Next, you choose how to top up. You can select international cards. There are also convenient Russian bank cards with SBP and even any crypto options you want. No problem. Go ahead and make the payment. And in a few minutes, you'll receive an email saying that your server will be ready. It will look like this. I'll show you now. How is she? This is how it looks. Like this. Not shown. There you will have an IP address. There will be a login and password, but it will be hidden and will say fail. Personal account also come in this. And this is how your server on EasyEye will look. Your IP address will be indicated there. It will be here. Here will be your login. That is, this is the root. It is always at hand in any hosting service. This is the administrator right and password, please, that is, copy it and you can already work. And the first thing we'll start with is the simplest, fairly fast and hassle-free one. Protocol will set up AmneziaWG. What is that? This is WireGuard. Many of you may have heard of it. It's a protocol that was developed relatively recently. It's very fast, but it has one downside. They started blocking him. In some countries, because they just don't want it to work. And the superstructure was invented, amnesia, which adds noise to the packets, making it hard to understand what it actually is. In order to set it up on the server, we need to download their program. Let's try to switch. Officially, you see, it doesn't work. Why? Because the site doesn't work for some reason. Probably for some reason, you can guess. There's usually a mirror. We can go through the mirror and we've switched. We can see that we can download it here. You can also download it through GitHub, for example. Just search for Amnesia on GitHub and there's a repository there too. What's convenient about it? You can install it on Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, Linux. Basically, it's available everywhere, even on GitHub. Let's download it. We're installing the app on our computer or phone, and now we need to enter the data there. Next, we open our app and we copy the IP address that we have. We choose self-hosted. We choose the username. It will be root by default. And the password. We selected the password and click continue. Now, the program has connected via the SSH protocol and is offering to install the required option. We manually choose the VPN protocol. So we select this option and choose AmneziaWG. Here, you see, you can set different protocols on one server. We're interested in this because we're going to install X-Ray, but we'll install X-Ray differently, not through Amnesia. To give you more options, this will come a bit later. Here we set it, click random port. Let's go ahead and install it. And it's being installed. Usually it's about the time of a minute, 1.5 to 2, class minus. Here again, look at the instructions. I've outlined all the steps. And now, we're moving on to the next step, which is more interesting. I will have the 3xy panel. So, there will be another protocol, and all of this will be on one server. It's very convenient when you can use both this protocol and that one, and you can install it on different devices. That's it. We see that the installation has taken place. We see that the connect button has appeared. So right now, this application on your phone or PC, where everything is being installed, is considered administrative. This means you have access to manage the server, and you can grant access from here to other users, for example, your wife, relatives, children, friends, neighbors. You just add a share button here, choose a name, select which server, which protocol, and for what purpose. Look, if you have the original Amnesia app, you need to choose the option for the Amnesia app. When you click share, a QR code pops up. You can just copy and send it to someone to scan, or you can send the configuration file directly. So a person just installs what's in the file and they'll also get access. But keep in mind, if you have an iPhone, Amnesia, the VPN options don't work in the Apple Store. And here there are a few options. The first option is either change the app region in the Apple Store, meaning your iPhone account has that option. You can find information online on how to do this, and then you'll be able to install it. This is either the second option, this. There is an app that isn't exactly original. As it's written, it was understood by enthusiasts, and it works. So this is called AmneziaWG. You can also find this kind of picture. The only thing, if I'm not mistaken, is the application format there. Not for the Amnesia app, but you need the original format. meaning you have to choose, and then you'll be able to import it. If I'm not mistaken, it's like this. So you can check whichever is more convenient for you. Some people will change the region while others don't want to change it and can install a third-party app. So everything is clear here. It works for us. We can check how. Just connect to the server. And we see that the connection is successful. How can we test if it works? No. We click on the IP. And we see that yes, we have the IP address that matches our server. And accordingly, there will be some banking apps here. I don't know about that video hosting, but everything will work for you there. We can try to check. Search, watch movies. Search is generally the most capricious. It's actually a service. After all, he sees that overall it will show us the channel. Let's give it a try. The whale search is very finicky. It doesn't even like IP addresses within the country. That's definitely very strange. For example, you can access Comnes. Look, there's a nuance. If you suddenly took down the server and accordingly you have some difficulties accessing it or something is lagging, then there's a chance that something is happening. A traffic shaker at the level of Amnesia, either the data center or, let's say, somewhere between you and the data center, something is interfering with your work. You see how long the images take to load, for example. So now we will look at a method that will allow us to bypass this. This next method is the VLESS panel. It will be more stable, it will be faster, and more secure too. So you can choose either one option or the other. Overall, you can set up both. That's simple. Keep that in mind and hold on to it. And I'll give you a little heads up. Sometimes the traffic can be shaped from the center. If you are set for winter, it is somehow slowing down for you, it is not clear, then most likely you have encountered this. There might be good speed, but are there some bottlenecks? In this case, it's not really suitable for you. It would be better to use something else, and we'll get into that. This is about the custom script in the instructions that he wrote himself. Speech. This is a custom script in the instructions he wrote it himself. With an addition, in order for us to install the security certificate on your server and for you to have access under a secure protocol, it is important to the settings because the standard script don't install the certificates. So that we can work with the server, the first thing we need to do is download. We download the program. The term is called Access via the link in the instructions, or you can Google it and find it. You can install it on Windows and you can install it on Mac. In general, it's inconvenient on a multi-platform setup. It's needed, and I'll show everything with an example, so keep in mind to copy. You need Control-Shift-C control. Shift-V or Command if you're on a Mac, because it's unusual here, you need to add Shift. Let's copy the script. If you have access, or if you don't have access, you can rewrite it, or you can download and find the standard installation option, but you won't have the certificates. Next, after we've installed the terminal, we add a new host through the program. We enter the IP address that we have. You can write a label here, something like my server or whatever, and the username is also root. And the password from the personal account we copy admin RPS or IS. Click connect when you've entered your access details. If you have access and clicked connect, you've entered the server. What you can do here is, for example, just launch the task manager out of curiosity. And what? It looks like this, the command. And what about you? They are showing up here too. Let's say your server and the load, the RAM, which programs are running. Control-C to exit. If anything, next, we need to install the panel. We click, or rather copy the script. If you have it, paste it with Control-Shift-V. We click. and it will automatically do everything. It will download the 3x panel and install the certificates, download them to your server. All that's left is to write them down. Here in the panel, you just need to wait 1 minute. It all happens quickly. You are asked if you would like to install your settings or random ones. We want random ones, it's better for security and it's safer. We click no, then enter. Here, next, you have the code hidden. It will show Tom script my Kirk for the person Kirk or Kitov and Kirk Gusty. If you're interested, if it's interesting, press enter. All the certificates have been created. They're located here in these paths. Now we need to access the server. Let's explain. Up here, there's access. Jura. So this is, let's say, access. We press Ctrl-Shift-E, and up here you have access to your Tor server, which includes passwords, logins, and you can also copy the link by simply clicking Ctrl-Shift and clicking on it to go there. I'll just copy it. We click, and now we will try to access our server, which is in Moscow. This is the control panel. Everything is controlled. Copy here. These passwords and logins. Password. It's well generated, so it's hard to guess. But the only nuance is, what do we have right now? Everything is transmitted in an insecure mode, so it's better to change it and install an SSL certificate. That's exactly what a custom script is for. We click on the panel settings. By the way, it's available in Russian. You can change the language. In Russian, whatever is convenient. Here is the public key. Patch. So we need to copy it. It's down there. Here it is. So I've already done everything here thanks to you. Just copy it, paste it, and save. We paste it. We save it. We paste everything. Here's the certificate. Here's the key. We've pasted it. We click save and restart the panel. We can see that the Kaspersky certificate has been installed for a month. Well, he doesn't understand. Let me explain. Moreover, the reason is that we ourselves issued the wrong certificate to us, so only we can trust and warn you. Let's continue. We see that the whole lock has appeared, that is, the data is transmitted safely. The browser will swear at the feet, even showing that the scene is protected. You can click and see that you have been issued a certificate for 10 years. That should be enough for you, and if needed, you can transfer it without any problems. Let's go. We see and we'll call back in Russian. That will be easier. Here, I think we can see that the Russian language has appeared. You can save the data so that you don't have to dig through the terminal every time. Here, everything is in Russian. So we need to create a connection in the instructions as well. It's all here, even with GIFs and pictures. It describes in detail what to write where. We need to create a VPN connection using VLESS. Click on Connect, then Add Connection. Note that you can name it VLESS, the protocol. Here we have VLESS. The IP is empty. We choose port 443. It's needed for masking. Client. For now, let's leave everything as it is. Here we select Security, Reality, and we can immediately see that the client has a flop. We choose XLSS Vision. For the email, you can name it something like MYPC or something that makes it clear to you that this is the ID. It generates itself, it's random. Here you can leave everything standard, like Yahoo, for example. Yahoo also works for Moscow. You can actually use Google. I recommend it. I wrote it in the instructions, but I won't show how to do it. And overall, it's not in the instructions anymore. The method is written for the body scanner. We can scan under the network. There to download Python, install it, and scan the nearest server for masking. So I'm showing you how to do everything and replace it, and it literally takes you about 10 minutes to figure it out the first time, and the scanning takes a minute. And you'll find the best servers that you can use for masking Here, accordingly, you can use it there. For example, this is how Agent found it and also used atypical ones. It's better to use something that's rarely encountered. Let's leave it, and then we click on Get New Set. Sniffing, let's turn it on. And we click on Create All. We have a connection. We can add. You need to download, just leave the client. So, there are multi-platform clients like Hedify, Necobox and V2Ray for computers, iOS and MacBook. In general, everything is there. You download it. And you scan this QR code, or you can carry through this legal entity. So this configuration, copy it and set it in the program. That is, this is the control panel for the forces. You can turn clients on and off here, and you can set limited traffic. So there are actually a lot of variations. And if you want to know more about this panel, it has a really cool, powerful functionality. There's this instruction 11, an advanced guide. It covers everything about everything. There are a lot of points. And that's all about this panel. Like the settings I made, what specific ports are you interested in there. TLS scanner, you can also scan the server for its quality. In general, everything, you can even connect a Telegram bot and manage it through your work, and there you can get a lot of things. And accordingly, you can also connect. So connect your phones for now. Via QR codes. Through these keys, you will have access to both banking applications and some video hosts. And overall, you'll feel like you're using the internet in Moscow. That's all. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, visit the Telegram group. Sometimes there is some news there, I write something. If it was helpful, I'd be glad if you support me. The instructions for the purchase will be more convenient for you, and it will be good for me. Vintuvenka says yes. Instructions are being added here. It all started with a few. Here is already the 17th option. Here are already different options. I think you can find a solution to almost any question now. I don't know. We'll come up with it, and it will be to be updated and replenished further. So, it was helpful. I'll be waiting for you again on the channel. Send this video to someone. Maybe it will help his friends and family. And see you all. Bye bye.